Welcome back to the final interview of the morning. We will be talking with our next guest, Sihle Lonzi, for approximately the next 8 minutes. He is the president of the student wing of the EFF and convener of the EFF Youth Wing. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Julie, and greetings to your viewers.
Congratulations on a very successful protest march on Monday. What can you tell us about the march?
No, I think the youth of South Africa, and of course the political party, the economic freedom fighters, are unapologetic in their support for Palestine and the people of Palestine. So our demonstration on Monday was to show the world, because South Africa is a product of global solidarity. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for people standing up against the racist apartheid government. So we were merely doing to the world what they did to us. And of course, appealing to other people in the global community to say, where we see injustice, we can never be neutral. We must always side with the weak. We must always side with the oppressed.
Why do you suppose that there is people in the global north and the Israelis, in particular the Zionists, not the Jews, because we do know that there are very many honest, humane Jewish people who also are against what is going on in apartheid Israel. But why do you suppose there is still this lack of understanding regarding what is going on with the people or the genocide that's happening? Because I've often come across posts on the show where people are agreeing with the stance that apartheid Israel is taking against the Palestinian people.
Look, we are particularly not surprised, especially when you see the stance of the United States. You will remember that initially, the countries like the United States and Britain, they actually never supported the liberation movements in South Africa and even in Africa. In fact, they are very imperialist countries and nations. They only came to the party later, and this is where the global solidarity of people on the ground, the ordinary citizens. So those in powers in these so-called superpower nations are, of course, trying to protect their interests, be it their business interests, be it their political interests of expansion into the Middle East and various areas and the territories in the world. So the politicians themselves were not surprised, because even with us, they used to call President Nelson Mandela a terrorist, for example, and they actually only released him or removed his name in the early 200s. So even after the 2000s, sorry, so even after 1994, they still had the name of Nelson Mandela, who is now celebrated all over the world as a peacemaker, as a hero. They called him a terrorist. So we're not surprised with the elite, the political elite in the West, and the position they have taken, which is against human rights. But the people that we appeal to are the ordinary citizens. And I think we've been seeing that those demonstrations take place in the UK, in the United States, in Turkey, and many other countries, where the ordinary citizens themselves are the ones who are standing up against their own governments, because they don't want blood on their hands. They don't want to participate in a genocide. They don't want to participate in the undermining of human rights in Palestine by the racist Zionist government of Israel.
So, Sihle, I know that, as I indicated right at the beginning of the program, that was a very, very successful protest march. You, as EFFSC, is calling for the removal of the Israeli embassy in Pretoria. Do you know how that is progressing? And do you believe that that would be the eventuality that the South African government will um, agree to these demands being made by your organization and other organizations as well?
So for us, we really, it's twofold. Firstly, it's to add pressure to the South African government to remove the embassy of Israel, but also it's to expose the hypocrisy of the government of South Africa. So you would have seen that a week before we demonstrated outside the embassy, the African National Congress, which is the ANC, which is currently governing South Africa, also marched to the Israeli embassy in support of Palestine against the human rights violations of Israel. But we made it a point when we were there to say, how can a governing party march to an embassy when they have all the legislative power and authority to remove that embassy and take a stance to support human rights globally? Because the ANC itself is a product of global support. The ANC struggle, the MK, all of them would have never been able to achieve what they achieved during apartheid if the global community did not stand with them. So it is also to expose that hypocrisy at the level of our government to say, you can't have a government that is in power marching to the Israeli embassy as if they are an opposition. They must take a decisive position to side with the truth, to side with human rights, and remove the Israeli embassy. But secondly, where we are going to then make our voices to be heard, we are in charge of majority of the universities and institutions in South Africa because we've been winning the SRC elections. We are now going to push for the academic boycott of all Israeli, or rather Israeli and Zionist supporting institutions and universities, and all programs which seeks to maintain and support the apartheid, Israeli apartheid government in Palestine. So we are going to be doing that across all our institutions of higher learning, and we are going to continue organizing the youth of South Africa to call out this government, to say, you are in government today because of global support. You must do the same. You must support Palestine. You must support human rights.
And that's what we leave. Thank you indeed. Please keep that flag flying as high as you possibly can, because what is happening in this day and age in the 21st century, I never ever imagined that I would see genocide being played out in this day and age. So we need your voices, and we need them to be heard very, very loudly, not only in South Africa, but all across the world. Thank you indeed for being with us. Go well and God bless.
No, thank you very much, and God bless you too.
It is exactly 10 a.m. News and Views wrapping up. Thank you indeed to our content producer, Nasri Naidu, and the big man behind the controls, and that, of course, is you, Abdul Salam. Till tomorrow morning at the same time as always. Take care on the roads. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and it is Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.